everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand as Mbeumo, here we go, could be very well on its way. We have got a lot of different outlets reporting that this deal has been agreed, but until we get the Fabrizio Romano here we go or a David Ornstein bomber, I'm holding out on deal official, but we have all the latest updates, including the wage on Mbeumo, what the price is with the add-ons. I don't know if there's some guesswork going on in some places, but there is some good outlets reporting this, so I will bring it in. But what we've got to look forward to quite quickly into the show is I have got Portuguese transfer specialist Sebastião, let me just make sure I'm getting his name right because I do not want to get it wrong here. Sebastião Sousa-Pinto is going to be on the show speaking about Diogo Costa, Amorim pushing for the keeper, and all the latest on Gyokeres, whether he actually is signing for Arsenal, as what is being reported recently by Damasio. Going to be talking about that and getting some exclusive insight. So welcome to the show, everyone. Get your comments in. Want to quickly run through this Mbeumo stuff. A lot of it is what we already know, which is, I'm going to be honest, guys, why I didn't want to lead the show on it, because until we get a here we go or an official, a lot of it is the same information, but I will give you the latest update, as there might be a little bit of something in there. So first of all, this was broken by Ben Jacobs, and he said Mbeumo just in that United want to confirm Mbeumo before reporting to pre-season on July the 7th. Second offer of 60 million plus, not far off Brentford's expectations, with add-ons being discussed. So that was coming out from Ben Jacobs. I messaged Ben, he said it's just the add-ons now and the payment structure which is being discussed, and it could be deal done pretty soon. And then this was followed up by The Guardian, Jamie Jackson. Manchester United are close to finalising a deal for Bryan Mbeumo worth more than £60 million. That would make Brentford forward Ruben Amorim's second major signing of the summer window after Matheus Cunha. The initial fee is understood to be agreed, with the clubs discussing add-ons that might take the overall deal close to Brentford's 65 million valuation. It would take United spending to about 125 million after they paid 62.5 million for Cunha's release clause to buy him from Wolves. The initial fee has been agreed, with clubs discussing add-ons. We've done that one. And he is believed to earn a basic of £150,000 a week is what is coming in. So around the same as Matheus Cunha is being reported as well. So get your comments in about that. To me, it feels like we have spent a long time negotiating this Mbeumo deal to pay what Brentford wanted in the first place. I understand Brentford were busy with Thomas Frank. I understand that Brentford have probably wanted to look for a replacement before they say, yeah, Mbeumo, you can go. And I understand the structure of the deal does take time, but it does frustrate me that Manchester United seem to take a long time to do a deal where the payment terms were said to be around the Matheus Cunha deal, and that price initially at the start when we started discussing this, 3 weeks ago? So we've taken 3 weeks to come to a conclusion to pay what Brentford initially wanted. Okay, the payment terms might be better, it might be structured in a way that suits us more, but did it really need to take this long? And how long is it going to be until we get that official here we go is what I'm wondering. But get your comments in. At least it looks like he is going to be on the pre-season. He's going to be starting pre-season training on July the 7th and will be on the pre-season tour. That is what it's looking like. Remember when 200k a week was reported, says Warren Jr. Exactly. But people do this. They take things out of context, and I think at the time with the Mbeumo wage, and it's great to hear that his wage fits in with our wage structure and will be around the same as Matheus Cunha's, because I knew at the time, look, Ineos were never going out there and paying Mbeumo 250 grand a week. It just was not going to happen. You've seen the wages since they've been at the football club. We've seen what they're like with the finances, the amount of cuts that have been made, the amount of staff that unfortunately have lost their job. They were never going out there and giving Mbeumo 250 grand a week. It just wasn't going to happen. That story was manufactured from the Newcastle side of things, because I think they wanted to spin it in a way that we haven't lost in a race to Manchester United when they came 15th, have no European football, and we have Champions League football and are building a very good team with Eddie Howe. he's only gone there for the money. He's only gone there for the wages. That's the story that was kind of spun from the Newcastle side of things. They're now still looking for a right winger. They're trying to go after Anthony Elanga. I'm hoping they get him purely because that puts money into our pockets, because we do have a sell-on clause with Anthony Elanga. So it was never going to be that. I knew it was never going to be that. And to sign both Mbeumo and Cunha on reasonable wages for experienced Premier League players that are amongst the top performers, then I think it's really good deals on both sides. What just frustrates me, though, is how long it's taken us to get to a finalised deal, which I think Brentford are absolutely entitled to, by the way. I really do, because I think Mbeumo is worth that. I think Mbeumo is absolutely worth 65 million for the numbers he's producing in the Premier League for that Brentford side, for his age, for his experience, for his potential, for the amount of years he's got left, for everything he can give this team, second most ground covered in the Premier League. You know, he's got everything. He's got the work ethic, he's got the skill, he's got the ability. He wants to join Manchester United, he wants to join this project. He's absolutely worth 65 million. There's no doubt about that in my eyes. But we spent a long time negotiating a deal, which I think could have been done a lot earlier. But here we are. Maybe it's to align with the July 1st, like Goldbridge was talking about this morning. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. I do want to move on to bringing in our transfer expert to speak about Diogo Costa and to speak about Viktor Gyokeres, because it's super important to get these updates, and having to speak about something a little bit new as well, because we've spoke about Mbeumo lows, we've spoke about Rashford, we've spoke about Sancho. Let's speak about potential incomings and two players that has been widely reported that Manchester United really do want, specifically Ruben Amorim. And I'm especially excited to talk about Diogo Costa as well, because there's not been as much information on him, but he is a player that Ruben Amorim really does want to bring in. And where does that leave Onana? Got some super chats in first before I bring in Sebastião. We have GP saying, sell Goldbridge to Man City TV, 85 million. Do you know what? If it's for the cause to bring money in, I mean, what do you say? Jacob Thought, I would never do that, by the way. Jacob Thought says, that Mbeumo wage can't be right, Beth. I'm hearing it's actually 500 grand a day. That's what's coming out of the northeast. Cumaran, thank you for your super chat. And Christian Pacey says, can United afford Costa and Gyokeres? We're broke. Well, we'd need outgoings to do it, but I'm about to bring that information to you, because I am joined with Sebastião Sousa-Pinto. Sebastião, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Am I pronouncing your name right there?
Yes, Sebastião Sousa-Pinto. Yeah, it's close. Yeah.
Okay, I'm close. Thank you. I'm sorry if there's anything that's not pronounced in the absolute correct way. But thank you for joining us. Do you want to just tell the viewers a little bit about you and where you come from, your information?
Yeah, I'm from Portugal. I work in collaboration with Sport TV here. So since January, yeah, I've been doing this for 5 years, and yeah, we've been speaking a lot in the last months. So you already know.
Yes, I know you very well, and thank you very much for sending the updates my way as well. So initially, I want to get things kicked off, because I know that you have very good knowledge of Sporting Lisbon, Viktor Gyokeres, their situation, and it's funny actually, because Portuguese reports have maybe been getting a little bit of backlash, because it was reported that, you know, Arsenal had made a bid, you know, United had made bids, when realistically it doesn't look that way when you see how this story developed. So I wanted to ask you about this story that's recently come out. It's been reported that Arsenal will sign Viktor Gyokeres and are trying to find an agreement with Sporting. Is it actually that advanced? Like, does it look like Gyokeres is going to go to Arsenal at this moment, and are they looking to put a bid in?
I think the most probably scenario, if Arsenal is not buying Seško, is that Gyokeres will go to Arsenal. There's not many doors open, and I've made this exercise, and I think you should make it as well. If you look at the market, there's not many places that Gyokeres can go right now. If you look at Juventus, they have to sell Vlahovic first, and then they will look at Gyokeres. There's Saudi Arabia, but Gyokeres doesn't want to go there. Arsenal are looking at Seško at Leipzig, and if they don't sign Seško, they will try for Gyokeres. There's Man United, but the financial problems, it's difficult for the club. They want to sign Mbeumo, a midfielder, a winger. it's not easy. Maybe a goalkeeper, we'll see. It's not easy. And then if you look at PSG, it's not even clear if they are going to a striker, and if they go to buy a striker, is not clear also that Gyokeres is the main guy for them. There's also Osimhen on the list, Vlahovic, and then Athletic Madrid, they have to sell Julian Alvarez and Sorloth to sign Gyokeres. And the question that I make is to who? So it's a really really complicated domino here on the market. So we have to wait and see.
So from your knowledge, it's not advanced with Gyokeres with either Arsenal or United?
No. Obviously, football markets, you already know, change like the wind, so it can change really quickly. If Arsenal gets the feeling that they will not sign Seško, I'm sure they will advance for Gyokeres, but it's a difficult situation at the moment.
With it being a difficult situation, I wanted to ask you about the situation just between Gyokeres and Sporting, because it was reported by Fabrizio Romano yesterday that Sporting and Gyokeres, there's been a fallout and Gyokeres will not go back to pre-season training. He feels like heartbroken and the trust has been broken. I mean, what is the truth in this? Because I think Gyokeres feels as if he's been betrayed, as if the pact has been broken, and then maybe Sporting feel a different side of things.
Yeah, I think maybe that they will not appear on trainings in the first days. I don't know. We have to wait and see. He already told Sporting's president that he wants to leave. But the thing is that there's not many opportunities on the market. So there's no offer on the table. There was never an offer, either from Arsenal or Juventus. There's no offer to Gyokeres or Sporting. So I don't know. I think it can be games from each part, but we have to wait and see. It's a really difficult situation.
Have you heard that Amorim specifically is pushing for Gyokeres, and if they've had any sort of conversations? Because I know you know a lot about Ruben Amorim from his time at Sporting.
Yeah. Obviously he's a top player, and Gyokeres, since he became famous, let's say like this, because he was great at Coventry. But since his time at Sporting, he was with Ruben Amorim, and obviously Man United wanting a striker, I think Gyokeres fits perfectly the Premier League. I'm sure United and Ruben Amorim will try to sign Gyokeres. I told also that Liam Delap was high on the list since Ruben Amorim's time at Sporting. He was going to be a sub of Gyokeres, but he chose to go to Chelsea. So we have to wait and see, but as I said, it's a difficult situation in financial wise to Man United.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people didn't realise this at the time, that when Amorim was at Sporting, they were actually looking at Delap at the time.
Yes, he was going to be a sub, but then he chose to go to Ipswich, so he rejected Amorim 2 times. Then Sporting went to sign a striker, and it was Conrad Harder that was going to Brighton, but then the transfer window closed in England, and in Portugal we had 2 more days of the window, and then Sporting signed Conrad Harder to be the sub, but he was going to be Delap if he chose to go to Sporting.
It's interesting that, because I think a lot of people at the time thought that Delap was the club's choice and Gyokeres was Amorim's choice, but Amorim had agreed to Delap being the priority target, and that might have affected things with Gyokeres, because just as United seemed to be Gyokeres' second choice after Arsenal, it seems like he might have been United's second choice after Delap, and that might put off the player a little bit.
I'm not sure about it. I have to say, obviously, you have to see all aspects, because Liam Delap was 30 million quid, Gyokeres is 60, so it's way different. Obviously, it depends on financial availability from the club and how fast Man United want a new striker. So that can depend, and that's why Man United was going to try Delap. Then they failed to qualify to Champions League. And now I'm sure if Gyokeres at the end of the market is still available, and if United is not buying a striker and they have the funds to do it, I think it will happen.
Thank you very much for that update on Viktor Gyokeres. Now, I want to ask you about this, because this news might not be as public as maybe what we've discussed before, and that is Diogo Costa because it has been reported that Manchester United want a new goalkeeper, very strongly linked to Emi Martinez of Aston Villa. But what's your understanding about Amorim's desire to bring in Diogo Costa?
Yeah, I've told you in January, and that's the information that I've told people at that time, and the information that I still tell people now is that Ruben Amorim wants Diogo Costa as his main goalkeeper, and he already spoke with him at that time. So in January, December, he already spoke with Diogo Costa to sign for the club this summer. Obviously, it depends on the club's availability to sign him, because from what I'm told, and now obviously Diogo Costa is on holidays after Porto got knocked out of the Club World Cup, is that Porto wants a 50 million euros fixed fee, so add-ons to be included on a possible deal at this moment in time. So maybe at the end of the market, if he doesn't find a club and Porto needs to sell, maybe only 50 million euros is enough to buy him. So it's also a difficult deal because Emi Martinez is high on the list. He has experience and is cheaper than Diogo Costa. And as I always say, timings are everything on the transfer market. So at this moment, maybe they will choose an experienced goalkeeper and then they will try for Emi Martinez. But in a specific scenario, with if Man United wouldn't need to buy a specific goalkeeper with experience or something, Ruben Amorim would absolutely choose Diogo Costa for his goal. But Onana's situation still to be clear, obviously.
Yeah, so it would be Ruben Amorim's ideal choice to go with Diogo Costa. It's just finances, and the club's got to. They're making a decision together. It's not just Ruben Amorim, it's also the recruitment side of things as well. But it's very interesting to know that he's actually already had a call with him. I mean, Manchester City have been linked to Diogo Costa as well. Do you think that's something that could maybe develop and might hinder us?
Yeah, just before of the show, I was checking Ederson's situation at City. From what I'm hearing since a few months, and now again, his situation to leave City at this moment is really cold still. He has 1 year left on his contract at City. The negotiations for a contract renewal are completely stopped at the moment. He asks for big wages, and Man City is not open to pay those wages, and the only market that can afford that is Saudi Arabia. So it's all again a little small doors open. It's timings again. At this moment, it's not clear that if Ederson stays another season and leaves on a free next summer, or if he leaves now. And if he leaves now, I was told that Diogo Costa is high on the list of Man City and Pep Guardiola, and obviously Hugo Viana, there was sporting director. So we have to wait and see. And Gyokeres and Diogo Costa are both similar in these situations because there's not much doors open for them.
Yeah, I mean, it will be interesting. I feel like a lot of things might happen later on in the transfer window, window. Because if you think about it, it seems like Manchester United would have to buy Emi Martinez before the end of June because of that. That's how we would be able to get him because of Aston Villa's financial situation, which I don't think is going to happen personally. And then you'd also think if we wanted to go for Diogo Costa, that'd mean we'd have to move on Onana. Onana, isn't yet back from his holidays, isn't having them discussions with Amorim. And like you said, Porto have a price in mind for Diogo Costa, which, what was that again, sorry?
50 million euros, so around 45 million pounds, more or less.
But like you said, that might drop as the window goes on. I mean, I still think they're going to want a decent fee for him. He is a very good keeper, but you never know. If you try your luck in the last 2 weeks of the window, they could drop that price and United might be more available to it.
Yes, but at this moment is a fixed fee, so add-ons to be included. So it will be more than 50 million euros. So it depends. His release clause is 75 million euros. Obviously, they will not pay that price. Any club will not pay that price. So Porto already knows that if Diogo Costa leaves this summer, he will not go for the release clause. So around 50 million euros plus add-ons. And with the transfer window goes on, maybe 50 or 45 plus 5, I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see on that one, but it was really interesting insight about Ruben Amorim's opinions on that. So would you say that Ruben Amorim straight away identified that Onana wasn't his choice for his number one keeper?
It's difficult to say. I don't know. I don't have that information, so I don't want to speak.
Okay, I get that. I get that. But it's interesting that he's called Diogo Costa then and identified him when Onana is still at the club. So it'll be interesting.
He knows him. He knows him really well, obviously because of the Portuguese league. How good he does at the national team. So I think it's easier.
It's easier. Okay, thank you very much. We'll have to wait and see how that develops, but some great insights there on both Viktor Gyokeres and Diogo Costa. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us before we say goodbye? And hopefully we can do this again as well.
I can tell you about João Palhinha. I've made a post I think a few days ago. He wants to stay at Bayern and fight for his place at the moment. I know that he's being linked to Man United. He wants to fight for his place, and then it's another situation more to the end of the market. If he doesn't find his place and Vincent Kompany tells him that he's not part of the plans, then he can be looking at clubs. But for now, he wants to stay at Bayern and fight for his place.
Thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate the updates, and thank you so much for joining us. Our viewers loved it. I loved having the updates as well, and it's good to have someone that is always, onto the Portuguese side of things to be on the show and share that information with us. So thank you, and hopefully we can work together more.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much. See you soon, and as I always say, the clock is ticking.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Thank
you. The clock is ticking. I really do like that one. That was Sebastião Sousa-Pinto, I think it was. I was saying Sousa-Pinto, so sorry about that pronunciation, but I think we got there in the end. And it's really nice to just have them chats and get the latest information, because it was put out there before the show that, and do you know what? People in the chat, right, are trying to say, Fabrizio, here we go. I have notifications on. Don't try and catch me out. As soon as Fabrizio Here We Go comes, I will be right onto it and doing a stream about it. But I know he's not done it yet. I know Sully has mentioned it, but it's nothing that is, no disrespect to anybody that's out there, nothing's been out there that it's absolutely deal agreed. Even Ben Jacobs, who we have on the show, who I respect highly and is been excellent around this deal, hasn't said it is complete. He said it's nearly there. So until it's here we go, Bomber or Ben Jacobs says the deal is completed and it's done, then there's nothing really else to update. But on the updates around Diogo Costa and Gyokeres, first of all, that exclusive information that Amorim called and spoke to Diogo Costa in January is very, very interesting. And this is where you get a situation where the club and Diogo Costa are both working, not Diogo Costa, he's not working together on it, Ruben Amorim are both working together on transfers. Because in previous years, you just have, the manager decided and maybe dictating who he wants and maybe ended up getting his fifth, sixth choice and, the scouts chipping in as well. But now we have a recruitment setup where both sides have to agree. So I can see a scenario where Ruben Amorim has gone to, knocked on Jason Wilcott's door, spoken to Christopher Vivell, spoken to Omar Barada and said, I want Diogo Costa to be my goalkeeper. He's the guy that I have trust in. He's the one I want. And they've come back to him and said, look, Ruben, we'd love to go and get you Diogo Costa. We nearly signed him before we signed Onana. But there is an issue, and that is that Porto were asking for a €50 million fixed fee, £45 million fixed fee. We can't afford to pay that on a goalkeeper this summer when we're still paying off Andre Onana and there's no one out there that's willing to buy him. If we get you we can get you a goalkeeper and we can try and look for a goalkeeper, but we're going to have to be smart about it. Here are some other options. Aston Villa need to sell Ami Martinez. He's got Premier League experience. He's got the type of personality you'd probably want, and we view him as an upgrade on Andre Onana. Or we can go and get you a competitive number two from the cheaper end of the scale to compete with Onana until the finances are there to bring in a proper number one like a Diogo Costa. So I think that's the conversation that's happened. I think Amorim wants Diogo Costa, and I think the club can't afford to get him. I mean, we've already seen it been put out there that after the Cunha and the Mbeumo deals are completed, that United are going to have to sell to bring players in. Nobody wants Andre Onana right now for the fee that we would need to sell him for. It's hard work getting Sancho, Antony, Rashford and Garnacho out the door, which it shouldn't be. You know, there should be a buy there for Rashford, there should be a buy there for Garnacho. Sancho and Antony a little bit more difficult, but even Antony, there should be a buy there for Antony after the season he had at Betis. But we need to up our game on being able to move players out, and then you could maybe revisit Diogo Costa if we don't get an Emi Martinez, if we don't get a keeper. We could revisit the Diogo Costa deal later in the window, but you could never have Diogo Costa and Andre Onana at United at the same time. It's a little bit frustrating though, because Diogo Costa, I've heard anyway, from good sources, was this close to signing for United before we signed Onana, but Ten Hag got involved and opted for Onana. Imagine if we would have signed Costa. He would have suited all the things Ten Hag wanted from a goalkeeper, and Amorim joining the club at this time would have loved that. He would have been his choice. Obviously, that didn't end up happening, and it kind of thrown a spanner in the works that way. I've seen a few people in the chat saying, "Not my money, go and buy Costa today." Well, if it's who the manager wants, how many times in the past have we been in a situation where the manager has wanted something, but they don't get it, and you know we end up going for the second, third choice for still quite a decent chunk of money, and it doesn't work out. And people will say, well, we've gone for the manager's first choice before and it's not worked out, i.e. Antony. Ten Hag's representatives have come out and debunked that. Ten Hag never pushed forward for Antony for 80 million. He didn't. Okay, yeah, he wanted him, but he never wanted to pay that much and he wasn't pushing it through. Manchester United panic bought. They panic bought because we started the season really poorly. So there has been times where a manager has had their top target, and instead of clubs coming up with a viable solution, we've gone and bought someone that's still quite expensive, maybe not as expensive, that is nowhere near the same profile as what the manager wanted. I'm hoping it's... Oh, nearly lost my mic then. Got too excited about bringing in a new keeper. You know what I'm like with my keepers? Just got too excited there. But no, I'm hoping with this recruitment team, we are... Well, so far we have been on a different level, and we've been working collaboratively, and we have worked more efficiently. It's not been chasing De Jong all summer and then getting a completely different profile for the midfield in Casemiro, because you're panic buying, who was very good in his first year, but it just wasn't the same sort of profile as De Jong, which was the type of midfielder we were chasing. It has been a lot better and it's been more collaborative, and the players we've been linked to have been of the same calibre at least. And a lot of the time, it feels like we have got our first choice. For example, you know, with Cunha, with Mbeumo, both first choices, so that's good. Last summer, De Ligt was definitely up there. I know Branthwaite was a very, very strong pick for us, but we ended up getting Lenny Yoro, who, for me, obviously not the same player, but both great at bringing the ball out from the back, both can play on the left and on the right, both young centre-backs that are up and coming, and I thought we got the better end of the deal with Lenny Yoro. So we have been more efficient in that side of things. The speed of the deal does need to hurry up, of course. The outgoings need to get better. But it is interesting to know that Ruben Amorim did make that call to Diogo Costa in January and asked him about joining for Manchester United. So he would be Ruben Amorim's top pick. Get in the comments down below. Would you move for him? Do you think 50 million euros is too much money? If we have the money there, would you do it? This is how I look at it. And like Schofield says, if we sold Bruno, we'd have the funds. But we didn't sell Bruno. And I still think, even if we would have sold Bruno and had the money there, this club would not have gone and bought Diogo Costa for 50 million euros whilst Onana's still there. You can't have two big number ones there. You've got to be able to move one on. There could be an argument that we might have bought him to try and move Onana out and force him out and go and get himself a move. But I don't think the club would have done it. I don't think they would. I think it still would have been Onana's got to go first, and we'll see how it develops. But if that's who the manager wants, and and I think we all can see how good Diogo Costa could be. I mean, he's already good, but his potential is there. And okay, yeah, he does have the odd mistake in him, which would worry me if he was coming into the club. But if he's Amorim's guy, it's definitely one to explore. And I think this is one that could maybe heat up a little bit in the later stages of the window, but only if Onana comes. If Onana goes. And Ben Jacobs said yesterday on the show, didn't he, that if Onana walks into pre-season on July the 7th, it's very likely that he will be staying at Manchester United. But even if it's not this summer, right? But I'm on the page, by the way. This summer, for me, this is what my priorities would be. Cunha, who we've already got, and Mbeumo, who it looks like we're very close to getting, a striker, a keeper. I know we need a midfielder, but I'd probably hang on till next summer. That's what mine would be. I would be going for a keeper this summer. But if United don't manage to move Onana on and we do stick with him and we go for a midfielder instead, or even if we just get the front three of Mbeumo, Cunha and a striker and we get our outgoing sorted, if City don't go for Costa, who have been linked to him massively and we know do want him because Ederson doesn't go, like Sebastião was just saying, then we could revisit the Costa deal next year. He's still young for a keeper. If you look at Diogo Costa, how old is he now? What, 24, 25 maybe? Let me just double check. He's 25 years old, 26 in September. Still very young for a goalkeeper. So we could revisit that next season if Onana has another turbulent season, which I can see happening, to be honest, because I don't know if he's ever going to find consistent form at Manchester United. We've got some more chats coming in here. D. Hussein says, Bruno will be another level with Cunha and Mbeumo with him. I truly do believe that. I think it's the right decision keeping Bruno. And I'm going to stand on that. And if this time next year I'm sat here saying we should have sold Bruno last summer, I'll eat humble pie. I'll hold my hands up and say that. But I do not think I will be. I stand by the decision of keeping Bruno as part of this rebuild. To steady the ship, to keep the heartbeat of the team, to keep your captain. I really don't think you can really put much of a price on what he gives to Manchester United in this current moment. Once we've built a better team around him, once you have the Mbeumo's and the Cunhas, once you go and get a midfielder, once you get a top level striker, once you are happy with your back line and you have a strong team. You know, Mason Mount's chipping in as well. Xerxes developed more, and you've got the base of your team. Kobbie Mainoo's come on and excelled. You know, Yoro's stepping up even further and proper coming into his own. Once you've got a strong team built around Bruno, then you can look at it and say, you know what, yeah. You could cash in on him now. But when United are in crisis in 15th, the team is super fractured. We've got outgoings hopefully happening. Across the front line, you're bringing new players in. You need that stability there, and I agree with keeping him, but everyone's going to have different opinions, and that's part and parcel of football. Shane, and I'll have a conversation with anyone who doesn't. I mean, Ricky just messaged me before this show. Ricky messaged me the clip of me and Maud's talking about Alejandro Garnacho and how much he's worth. And Maud's asked me if I think Garnacho's better than Delap. Delap ended up going for 30. I kind of said, yeah, but Delap had a release clause. But he said, do you think Garnacho's better than Delap? And I said, you know, I think Garnacho's worth more than Delap right now based off what he's done in his career. And Ricky's laughing at me. He's messaged me laughing at me saying, Garnacho and Rashford are both rubbish. How many times do I have to tell you? So everyone's got different opinions. Still respect him. I respect Ricky's football opinions, but it's all about sharing them and having these debates. And that's what this community is about. Shane Bathurst said, hey Beth, hope you are well. Can you do a video on the best free agents available? This may be our best option if we don't sell. Shane, I think that's a great idea, and I'll definitely write that down on my ideas list, and I'll give you some credit for that when we do it. But the only reason why we've not done that, and I have thought about it, is because we're not linked to anybody who is a free agent, and I don't think there's many free agents on the market that I actually think are that good right now. For example, Jonathan David, I've never fancied him, and he's free. We've had our name linked to him for years and we're still not going for him. So I don't think there's many free agents on the market that I think United will go for, to be honest with you. Ayos Dayub says, if we sell Onana, we would not hear the Rihanna song, Onana, What's My Name, by the warm-ups. That would be a little bit of a disappointment. Honestly, every warm-up at Old Trafford, and I don't know if it's a coincidence, that's playing. Onana requests it. I'm sure of it. I'm sure he requests it, but it needs to do a better job. It really does need to do a better job. Someone should do that. How many times that Onana song's been played, and how many good performances Onana's had, and does it affect it? Because it's very hit and miss, isn't it? It feels like with Andre Onana. But look, everyone, that is the show right now. Gave you the Mbeumo updates, the Gyokeres stuff. Oh, yeah, I wanted to bring that in. Martinez put out before we went live on the show. One second. Also, Matt, check out our graphics. United Stand TV on Instagram. I don't know if he's put it on Twitter yet. He's put out a great graphic about Man United are edging to sign Mbeumo. Edging, closer, nearly, accelerating. I mean, how many different words can we use to describe this deal at this point? But Martinez put out there, and this is another reason why I got Sebastião on, Arsenal will sign Viktor Gyokeres because he wants to join Arsenal. Other clubs have tried to enter the race, but he will go to Arsenal. He was their first target from the start and have now had to find an agreement with Sporting. And we've just had Sebastião on, and according to his information, Viktor Gyokeres is very far off being agreed to any club. And there's actually, not as much market opportunities there as what is first thought. Arsenal have not chosen yet who they're going to go for. But from information that I've had, and again, not claiming to have the A1 sources out there, I'm not claiming to have Fabrizio Romano messaging me on the down low saying, by the way, I think Arsenal are going to choose Sesko. It's nothing like that. It's just people I've spoke to in and around Arsenal. I've heard that Arsenal first choice is Sesko. It's just whether they can agree that fee with Leipzig, and they're kind of using the Gyokeres deal to try and get the fee down for Sesko. But they want Sesko. Arsenal want Sesko. And it's just about Berta trying to get the right fee for him and using that Gyokeres deal to kind of leverage Leipzig on getting the right fee. So again, I think this is going to take a while. I think it's a saga, but don't read too much into the reports coming out that Arsenal and Gyokeres are close, because they're just not. Yeah, could have maybe been a different word to edging, but you know what? We are edging closer to that Mbeumo deal. And as soon as we get Here We Go, we'll be live with you on the United Stand. Who'll be first, by the way? Ornstein or Romano on this one? It'll be a great little battle to see who gets there first. Will it be the exclusive or will it be the Here We Go? As soon as we've got that, we'll be live on the Mbeumo deal, but it looks like it's very, very close to happening. Look, if you enjoyed this type of show, you enjoyed Sebastião joining us and giving us them insights, make sure you comment down below. Make sure you smash a like on the video. It really does help us out. Thank you, everyone, for all of your chats, super chats, all your interaction. Any of your latest daily Premier League and other footballing news, get over to That's Football, switch the notification bell on as well, and you'll have that, new videos every single day. And any breaking news on Manchester United, we'll be back live with you, of course. Make sure you stay tuned for that. 8 p.m. coming up as well tonight, so make sure you stay tuned. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and have a great rest of your day. I'll see you on the next one.